one of the nice challenges we get to address as we get a little bit older in life is how are we going to invest our money? And today's video is about 5 ways that you can invest $100,000. And that's a significant amount of money. So you want to make sure that you choose wisely. And regular viewers of the station know that I've been a financial advisor for over 20 years. So people are going to assume that I'm going to say invested in the stock market, invested in bonds. And those are one of the choices, but that's not all of the choices. So let's get into a few of these. The first one I want to talk about is real estate. And there's really 2 ways to invest in real estate. The first one is just to start paying down or pay off your mortgage, right? That is a real estate investment. And because the interest rates recently were fairly low, a lot of us have low cost mortgages. So the decision to pay off that mortgage becomes more difficult, right? Current mortgage rates are over 7% now. And if you've got one of those mortgages, the decision to pay that off or to pay it down is a lot easier because it's essentially a guaranteed 7% return. And that's going to be hard to beat. It's risk-free. But if you've got a mortgage at 2.5% or 3%, that's a much more difficult decision. The second way that you can invest in real estate, though, is by investing in another property, investing in maybe a rental property that you're going to use the $100,000 as a down payment. For loans like this, typically you need to put down about 1/3 of the purchase price. So, that allows you to buy a smaller home in a less expensive neighborhood to rent out. And the thing about renting out properties is that can provide a nice cash flow stream for you to supplement your retirement, right? As we get older and we get closer to retirement, we want to be thinking about what are the sources of cash flows that we have coming in. Many viewers are going to get Social Security. The average Social Security payment is about $1,800 a month. So having additional sources of cash flow are also nice. And those can come from your investment portfolio, from dividend stocks, from things like that, or it can come from rental properties. So a lot of folks in retirement really like the idea of having real estate, having rental properties that give them cash flows. But the challenge for you and I when we invest in real estate and in rental properties, excuse me, I'm on a ferry and the boat is going back and forth. The problem with that, just like I'm getting tossed and turned here, is you're going to get tossed and turned a little bit because you've got your tenants. You've got to make sure you get the right tenants in. There's going to be some repairs that occasionally need to be made. It's what I call an active investment, right? But if you've got the time, if you have somebody that can help you with that, or you're planning on being nearby your rental property and you're handy and can do that work yourself, real estate can be a nice option for a lot of folks. I should mention this is not financial advice. I don't know your situation. These are just some things to put on your radar screen for you to consider. Okay, let's talk about another area, and probably one that people are expecting me to talk about, which is put your money in the stock market or the bond market. Do an investment in those things. Right now, as I record this, treasuries, 2-year treasuries, short-term treasuries are paying more than they have in a long, long time. In over a decade, they're paying more than that. So 2-year treasuries, even a 10-year treasury, and a treasury is just debt that the US government issues. You're going to get your money back because the government controls the printing presses. And right now, you can lock the US government for 10 years will pay you over 4%. As I record this, it's over 4.5%. And you're going to get that every year with no work on your part, unlike real estate. Now, the question is, are interest rates going to go back down or are they going to stay high? If they stay high, if they go up even higher, you might regret locking up your money for 10 years if in 6 months, just to toss out a number, what if you could get 5.5% or 6% on a 10-year treasury? So you're going to get your money back. So that's called creditor risk. So there's no creditor risk, but you still have duration risk, meaning how long is your money locked in for? Because if interest rates go higher, you're really going to wish you could have got those higher interest rates. So they're not risk-free. They have what people in my industry would call duration risk. All right, let's talk about another one. Let's get outside of the normal box, talk about some non-traditional investments. And it might be one of my favorite investments, and that is to invest in yourself, right? Look at what skills that you need in order to have the career that you want, in order to progress, in order to hopefully make more money in the future, or open the door to some opportunities that you would like to pursue that maybe right now is more difficult for you. So, you know, $100,000 is a lot of money to invest in yourself in education. But if you've always just, you know, for the sake of argument, if you've always wanted to get your MBA, if you go to school full time, it's easy to go through $100,000 very quickly on that. Or if you've always wanted a master's, let's say you're a computer science major, and you've always wanted your master's in computer science. You know, if you go to school full time, again, it's very easy to go through $100,000. Or maybe you invest in yourself and always said, you know, I'm tired of working for the man. You know, I want to work for myself. I want to start my own company. And you can use that to kind of seed the start of your company and to invest in yourself in that way. And that can really be very rewarding. Remember, it's not just the financial return that you get on your life, it's also optimizing your life. When I went to get my MBA 30 plus years ago, you know, a lot of people were saying, oh, an MBA doesn't pay for itself, you know, if you do the returns. But I wasn't necessarily just looking at the financial return. I was hoping I'd get a good financial return, and I did. But I also wanted to be able to live the life that I wanted to live. And being in the business world, being on the financial advising side of the world, those were things that I wanted to do, and getting my MBA was one way to make that a little bit easier to happen for me. Okay, another thing that you can do, which is probably what most people are going to do with this amount of money, and that would be to fund a retirement account. Whether that's a regular IRA, whether that's a 401k at work, or whether instead of a regular IRA or a regular 401k, maybe it's the Roth version of that. Now with the Roth version, you don't get the tax deduction today, but down the road, I call it a tax me now, but never tax me again account. So that would be another thing that's definitely worthwhile. One thing I will point out is you want to make sure that you have money both in retirement accounts as well as like in a regular taxable account. You want to have basically 3 buckets of money. You want to have money that is growing tax-free. You want to have money that will never be taxed after you pay the initial tax on it, the Roth. And then you want to have money in a regular taxable liquid account so that you have access to it if you need it. I call that the 3 buckets. So those are the main ways that I have for spending $100,000. And I also want you to look at this video over here that talks about, as we're getting older, 8 things to stop doing as you're getting older in order to enjoy life. We've talked about the financial side of it. Now let's talk about the non-financial side. I hope you enjoy this video. 8 things to stop doing as you get older in order to enjoy life more. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.